Okay, here's the package of bees, and it's roughly the size of a big shoebox. So basically what you see here is inside this box, which has screen on both sides, is about 10,000 bees. And those bees are surrounding the queen. And the queen's in what's called a queen cage. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a little bit. Now, this year I bought what's called a marked queen, and marked queens have a dot on their back, and each dot coincides with a year. So that tells me when the queen uh, was born. And my queen will have a fluorescent yellow dot on it, and I'll show it to you here in a little bit. And so fluorescent yellow is for years that end in 9 and 1. So this particular bee, I'm sorry, not 9 and 1, 9 and 4. So it's because it's every 5 years that they get a new dot. So what'll happen is, the other thing I forgot to mention is inside this container is a can which has sugar water, and that's so the bees have something to feed on while they're being transported. These bees probably came from down south where it's much warmer, and bees tend to live a lot longer down there. So you can see the can, and the can sitting on a stand in there so that the bees can feed underneath. There's a couple small holes, and the bees drink from those little holes, and that's how they stay fed. The queen is up in here, and you can't see her because she's in that cage. But once I open up this this package here, I'm going to take the can out first. And as you can see, if I remove the top, there's the bottom of the can. So all I have to do is I have to lift that can out, and then I'll be able to access the queen cage. And the queen cage is on a strap that's right here, and it's secured with a staple so that the cage doesn't fall down into the package. So you'll see there's a couple bees on the outside. I've already installed a package of bees in one of my other hives. So these are kind of like curious bees. They're just checking out the new bees that are coming in here. And these bees were probably all together at one point a while back down south where they came from. So I'm going to put these bees into this hive right here. And the interesting thing about this hive is, see, there's already some bees in there. They're kind of checking out what's going on because some of these frames still have a little bit of honey in them from over the winter. So they're in there trying to, you see this bee right here, he's trying to get some of the honey out of some of these cells. And because the bees didn't clean up all the cells during the winter. And so there you see these dark spots right here. These are all cells that still have honey in them. And if I were to take my hive tool and just scratch this, you'll see, I'm sorry, here, you'll see that some honey will spill out. And the bees they'll consume that honey, and that's kind of a nutrition source for them. So some of these cells have honey in them and some don't. And the other interesting thing is, if I can find some, so on this frame you'll see some spots, and I'll point them out to you. There's one here, there's here, and there's one here. That's pollen, and bees visit various plants that produce pollen, and they will bring that into the hive, and that is a food source for them. It's kind of like an energy drink. So they'll pack pollen and they'll keep that in there for another day when maybe they need some food or energy, and maybe the weather's bad and they can't get out, or something like that. So I'm going to put these frames back in, and I'm going to prepare this package so that you can see how I put it into the hive. and I've got to figure out a way that I can prop my phone somewhere so that you can see it, so I can use both hands. So that'll be, let me stop this and then I'll start it again.